Hi, this is Bree. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to watch my video. I am putting out a blog. It is going to be the 2023 predictions. And I wanted to come on and explain it before I actually put it out. And I usually do put it out to the people who sign up to my newsletter first, and then my blog second. So I thought with this, I will have an added video explaining why I am seeing what I'm seeing. All right. The elections, midterm elections last night, I wanted to touch on that. It is chaos. We've got, and I do have it up to October 14, 2023, but nonetheless, if I pulled it back, we still have Neptune conjunct the fourth house cusp. And it's within like 3 or 4 degrees from going over into the sign of Aries. And you'll notice these malefic planets, such as Saturn and Pluto and Uranus, there's Pluto and Neptune, they start to show what they're going to bring in around 5 to 6 orbs out before they actually perfect. And that's what we are seeing now. And I have stated in my other blogs, when Neptune is conjunct the fourth house opposite the midheaven, we're going to have a whole lot of chaos, political instability. It's just all over the place. It's just really craziness. And I think this, mail-in ballots have to go. You have to have an ID to buy liquor. You have to have an ID to buy cigarettes. You have to have an ID, driver's license ID to drive. Why would you not have to have an ID to vote? You cannot tell me that we are giving a disadvantage to the people that don't know how to go get or obtain an ID when I bet you they have one to go buy cigarettes, alcohol, to fly in an airplane, to drive a car. So I don't think we're putting anybody at a disadvantage. Absentee ballots, you have to have an ID, absolutely perfect. We've always had absentee ballots. The Democrats back in the day, and there are videos out there stating, especially with Biden, no mail-in ballots. But all of a sudden, since the COVID, it's okay. It's not okay. That's why we've got all the chaos. That's why we don't know who won what election, unless you're in Florida or Iowa, Texas, where you have to have a voter ID, just a driver's license, or just an ID with your picture on it stating who you are and you are a citizen. That'll do it. You can vote. We wouldn't have such chaos. All right. Now, in the 2023 predictions that I've got up, and I do have a cheat sheet right over here, and I am going to use it because I cannot remember everything in my head. So, in 2023, I do have riots, more uprising, more deceitful, manipulative, chaotic affairs, but I also have freedom. Sweet freedom is coming. We are going to have more freedom. By being politically correct, that's going to be going away. You have to remember, Neptune is going to be entering Aries. So, your feelings, you're probably going to have to get more thick skin, is what I'm going to say. Even myself, I can sometimes be insecure by a remark, but I'm going to have to grow thicker skin. That's just the way it's going to be. It's not going to be like Aries and Pisces. Those days are going to be gone, and it's coming. So, with everything changing, and it will accelerate once the North Node does reach Aries. And again, I have this on October 14th, 2023. So if I was to flip it back to November 9th, this is November 9th, 2022, it would still be in Taurus. So, everything is changing. And with the North Node entering Aries on July 12th, 2023, the Earth is rebirthing. During a rebirth, it is going to be messy. It is going to be chaotic. It is going to be an unimaginable chaos. And one thing I do say, and I put in my blog, never live in fear. Always live your best life. Work with the energy. The magic in this is when the tide is high, you kind of want to, lay low, recede, go back, lay low, and just wait. And when the tide recedes is when you want to come out and play. It's like ebb and flow, like full moon, new moon. Just work with those energies, and I promise you will be golden. You will be golden, absolutely. Okay, what I wanted to talk about, and is winter. Back in my blogs, and I do have it in this blog particularly, but I do explain that the winters are going to get worse. I explain about the recession, depression. You can click back on that. And I tell, when Pluto and Jupiter conjunct in the second house, what happened 13 years ago is being repeated. Rationings, which I don't believe we've had to have in the United States yet, but growing your own food and so forth and such, I did put in other blogs, and I do have that up on the 2023 predictions, the blogs that you can click into. I also have it up on the weather, how the weather is going to be so chaotic. So it's not like I'm just saying it now because I know the weather's going to be chaotic. I've been saying it way back. And again, in 2023, I've got it up to where you can click recession, depression, hashtag December solar eclipse 2019, and then December 4th, 2021. And I do put, people will be screaming for global warming to come back, bring it back, but it's not going to come back because it's the planets in play. And you can go and read that here, and also in the links that I put up on my 2023 blog, predictions 2023. We're having in 2023, as you can see, I've got this up to October 14th, and there's a reason for that. Saturn's going to be going into Aquarius. That's a cold sign. Pluto is going to be going into Aquarius. That's a cold sign. Neptune's going to be going into Aries. That is a hot sign. So some places are going to be extremely hot. Some places are going to be extremely freezing. Some places are going to be flooded with a lot of water, plus a lot of snows coming, ice, and a lot of wind, a lot of high wind is what I see coming. And that can be explained because we're having eclipses in Libra. And please excuse me, I do have a bit of a cold, but not sinuses or allergies. I have allergies. That's what I have. Allergies. And then I think it's in 2025, Uranus will go into the sign of Gemini. Okay, so in 2023, we're going to have, we have a solar eclipse. And this isn't just any solar eclipse. This is an angular solar eclipse on October 14th of 2023. And this solar eclipse belongs to Saros Series 134, and it will be known as the Ring of Fire. Now, remember the solar eclipse we had 18 years ago in 2005, October 2nd of 2005? It was in Libra. It was also in the 10th house. And I'm going to take you back there, and we're going to see where the North Node was. But this is October 14th, 2023. We've got one in Libra, conjunct the South Node, opposite the North Node. Okay, I have it on October 3rd, 2005, as you can see right up here. And we have a solar eclipse in Saros Series 134, 18 years ago from October 14th, 2023. And it is in Libra, in the 10th house, conjunct the South Node, opposite the North Node. And what happened in 05 and then in 06? We had the housing collapse. And I'm thinking, didn't we have to, during the Bush era, pump a lot of money in to save the banks? I believe that we did. And it was devastating. I believe that is right. Plus, we had very horrific hurricanes, terrible hurricanes in '05. And let me see what else. That's, yeah, the housing collapse and the hurricanes, the weather was terrible. And we had to infuse money to keep them from crashing, the banks from crashing. So when I put in my blog in 2023, and I also put it in my blog, Neptune in Aries for 2024, whenever there is a solar eclipse in the 10th house or the 4th house, lunar or solar, devastation follows. Also, it is a defeat of the government. Now, I understand when we had the housing crash, what defeat of the government? I get that. Well, they were infusing a lot of money into the market, a lot of money, just printing it. They can't do that now. And right now, they not that they don't want to, they just know they can't. There's no way for them to help us out of this, because this will be time to pay the piper. Now, okay, for '05, we're going to go back to 2023, and then I may go to the 2024, because in 2023 and in 2024, we have solar eclipses in the 10th house in the sign of Libra, conjuncting the south node opposite the north node. And this time, I do not believe they're going to be able to print a lot of money or to give us money as much as they're going to want to help us get out of this. Okay, we're on October 14th, 2023. And as I've stated, the October 14th, 2023 does belong to, it's an angular, and it does belong to the Saros Series 134, as '05 did 18 years ago. Now, this will be, this hurricane, I'm calling hurricane, it's going to, it will be along the eastern seaboard, and it's going to be, it's going to be horrific, actually, if this, does happen, because with this solar eclipse, it is going to be including Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Florida. So that solar eclipse going across those areas and comparing it to '05, to me, that screams hurricane and to be ready. And if a devastating hurricane doesn't transpire, that's great. But I'm kind of thinking it is going to. So that's why I'm wanting to get that out here. And if it doesn't, great. That's great. But I'm kind of thinking it will. Okay, so this solar eclipse is conjunct the south node and opposite the north node. And we see that Saturn went into Pisces. We have a karmic planet in a karmic sign in the 3rd house. So I so want to say maybe the wicked media will get their karma, but I won't. And we have Pluto conjunct natal Pluto, so the Pluto return is coming in. Also down the line, we will have Pluto squaring that north node in Aries. Now, remember in '05 that I showed you, '05 and '06 is when we had the housing crash. They did pump up the markets, and I don't really remember what year they gave money so banks wouldn't fail. But I'm sure I could if I Googled it, or you could Google that. But that's why it is really devastating when you have a solar eclipse, lunar eclipse, 10th house, or 4th house. It's not good. And again, in '05, the north node was in Aries, as it will be on October 14, 2023. Okay, so also Neptune in Aries. You're going to want to read that, because I've got the 2024 solar eclipse in that one. And that one is also going to be in the 10th house, in the sign of Libra. conjunct the south node, opposite the north node. So you might want to read that. I do have a financials in 2023. I have it just screaming a crisis. I think 2023, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be extremely worried about their 401ks, as well as nervous investors. And they have a right to be, because it's going to be, like I said, chaotic. I look for a significant stock market decline in 2023 and a housing crash, probably, before the date's perfect, of course, before this date comes, of course. And I would say a crash for the stock market, but I'm holding off on that because I'm also seeing a war. And a war in today's world can mean different things. It doesn't necessarily mean, boots on the ground. But in this case, I am saying there will be boots on the ground. The U.S. will be injected into a war with boots on the ground. And I'm thinking it's the elites, the powers that be, their attempt to get everyone's mind off of, like they're trying to now, the Russia and Ukraine war. Oh, it's not our fault oil and gas is high. It is. They should never have shut down the Keystone pipelines. It's an energy war. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's just an energy war. But I'm thinking, because I did this, and I'll explain it in other blogs as I go, there'll be boots on the ground. So I'll look at that more closely. And as I blog on each month, I'll be able to come to a final decision. But this is an energy war. They should never have done that. And they know this. Okay, so anyway, the war, I think, backfires hugely on them. It's not going to go in their favor this time. I don't know of any other tools that would be in their toolbox that would be able to help them. So they have to take us to war to get our minds off of what's happening here in the U.S. And interest rates. Interest rates are going to continue to rise. When Jupiter is in Taurus, it's going to be slower. They are going to slow it down. But Jupiter at this time is in Aries, so they are going to continue to rise. And Neptune rules inflation, period. It rules inflation. When it gets closer to the sign of Aries in orbs, and these planets work 5 to 6 degrees out, when it does get closer into Aries, we will see hyperinflation. Bank on that. We will see hyperinflation. I see banks hanging on by a thread. I see some banks will fail in 2023. There'll be no bailouts. We don't have the means. And maybe by them taking us to war, they think we're going to all of a sudden miraculously have the means, but we're just not going to have the means. Banks will not be saved. Some banks will collapse. I looked at both the NASDAQ chart and the USA chart. And banks, financial institutions, they're in distress. And they're trying to hang on. And it could possibly be because they're resisting an inevitable realization of having to completely reboot. So all this that they're doing isn't going to work. The banks are going to have to reboot anyway, is what I'm saying. I'm also saying a lot of small businesses around the country will go bankrupt. Also, the US dollar is in serious trouble, and I look for that. I'm thinking, if I can remember correctly, around June, July. Also, currencies, cryptocurrencies, they will continue to have large declines. When Jupiter does go into Taurus, Taurus loves things like jewels. Taurus loves gold, silver, commodities, gems. I do look for that to go up in the stock market. And again, I'm not a financial gal, so, do your own homework. Pluto will slip into the sign of Aquarius on March 23rd, 2023. So we'll go to March 23rd, 2020, and we have Pluto 0 degrees in the sign of Aquarius, 0 minutes. Now, Pluto rules long-term bonds, and Jupiter also, plus crude oil, plus the crude oil belongs with Neptune. And just look for a collapse in the bond market. I mean, it's going to go extremely down to where it's almost going to collapse, or it will collapse. The bond market will. And since this will happen March 23rd, 2023, I'm going to say it's going to happen before Pluto gets into Aquarius, March 23rd, 2023. And remember, we also, and I still haven't talked about Pluto squaring the North Node. So, some real tricky things are coming. Pluto is known as the god of the underworld. Pluto rules corruption, dictators, tyrants, and also in the financial world, Pluto rules the long-term bond market, as well as science and research, atomic energy, insurance, pollution, waste, just to name a few. Now, going back to insurance, I don't know if I did say this because I don't remember. But I look for some huge insurance company to go bankrupt or either file for bankrupt protection. And I'm thinking it's going to be due to all the chaos weather. That's what I'm going to say. It's due to the weather. So some big name insurance company either is going to file for bankruptcy protection or is going to go bankrupt. And Pluto rules insurance. We're going to have massive unemployment. It's going to become more prevalent in 2023. We're going to have strikes threatened or actually taking place will also happen in 2023. And look for that to kind of come in now a little bit in 2022, if I can remember correctly, about the end of November, December. So that could be coming in a little bit early, these strikes. Trouble with the Navy, accidents, explosions related to ships are going to be prevalent in 2023, as well as pandemics and epidemics is going to be prevalent in 2023. Whenever Mars is square, conjunct, opposite Neptune, there's always going to be a pandemic, epidemic abroad. That's just what Mundun's Astrology states. And I don't know if I stated this, but I have a lot of old books from old ancient astrologers, and that is how I learned Mundun's Astrology. Reading their books, going back in history, seeing what they stated, and then I decided, they're pretty smart. I'm going to make this my own. So I do learn from old-time astrologers regarding Mundun's Astrology, and I have a lot of books on that. So as you can see, the USA is set for one hell of a reset, and it is coming. I'm going to go ahead and show you Pluto squaring Jupiter. Okay, it's around July 6, 2023, and they always show their colors before they perfect. They show the flavor of what's coming in. We've got the North Node 0, Taurus 57 minutes. We have Pluto 29 orbs in the sign of Capricorn, 29 minutes, and they are square. Now, it's on the 5th house cusp. The North Node is on the 5th house cusp, and Aries is on that. So more to come on that one. But there it went over. Okay, 29 still on the cusp, square. And then it slips into that 4th house around July 18th, 19th, 2023, and it is square. Now, the housing market, I do look to collapse before this happens, but also anything related to the 4th house. Mining, let me see, what else is related to the 4th house? Land, all that, I look to collapse. And I wanted to also show you before I go the 2024. I'm going to go ahead and show you that right now. Okay, I have that up in my Neptune in Aries blog. And on April 8th, 2024, as it states, you can go here to my blog, www.spiritualdesignastrology.com, and look for Neptune in Aries. And on April 8th, 2024, we have another solar eclipse in the USA, fourth house, belonging to the Saros Series 139, which repeats every 18 years. This solar eclipse will be known as the Great American Eclipse, as you know, the one on August 21st, 2017. Okay, so let's go to look at that. Okay, this is the April 8th, 2024 solar eclipse. It's in the fourth house, conjunct the north node, opposite the south node in the 10th house. And that, again, when a solar eclipse in the fourth house or the 10th house, it's not good. When a solar eclipse is in the 10th house, it is defeat of the government. Now, I want to go ahead and show you the October, I think it's the 2nd, that's going to be in the 10th house in the sign of Libra. Okay, so October 2nd, 2024, we have one in the 10th house, which is 10 Libra, and it is conjunct the south node, opposite the north node. We've got Pluto at 29 degrees, and Neptune is 28 degrees retrograde inside the sign of Pisces, hugging that fourth house cusp. We've got like 2 orbs before it flips into Aries. So that is why it is going to be felt earlier than when it does actually go into the sign of Aries. And if you do go to my blog, you'll see that I have where the April 8th is going to be. And that's going to be the Great Northern American Eclipse. And then down here, goes in there March 30th. Okay, but the flavor will be felt. Okay. And I didn't put where that was going to be. I should have put that. Well, I'll put it in 2024. But you can also Google that, where the October 2nd, 2024 eclipse will be. But in the Mundun's astrology books that I do have from old-time astrologers and I follow, and they seem to be pretty much on note, anytime there is a solar eclipse in the 10th house, 4th house lunar eclipse, devastating results do follow. So I would at least get ready for that, even though we still have a trine going on with Saturn and Mars, and Mars being in the sign of Cancer. Let me do this. That really isn't going to produce much chaos when it's in the sign of Cancer, but it's when it leaves that sign and is opposite Pluto is when we're going to see that. So I guess I also should point out, just because an eclipse also is on October 2nd, 2023, doesn't mean the flavor will be felt then. But with air signs, it's usually felt right away. And it just comes in right away, even before the eclipse comes in, and then it slowly goes out with an air sign, in a cardinal sign too. In a cardinal sign, the same thing. So I will update as the time gets closer, but I just thought, well, I need to put this out there so everybody can be ready. And plus, I'm wanting to start some new things. I don't always want to be talking about doom and gloom. It is wearing on me. So I am going to try to start some newer upbeat things. And when things start to transpire, I'll blog on them, is what I'll do. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please let me know, send me an email. Oh, that one lady did send me an email, so I hope I answered her question. She did ask, okay, why is it evil? Well, I think since I went back to the 2005 and I showed you what that produced, and I'll go ahead and through history, maybe find one or two other ones to show you when we do have a solar eclipse in the 10th house, it is evil. That is what my books are showing me. They are written from old-time astrologers, and I have followed them, and so far, they really haven't let me down. Of course, I do get some emails stating this didn't happen, that didn't happen. Then I have to send them a link and showing them, yes, it did. You're reading or listening to the wrong material. And I do try to each time put in links that show that I'm correct, but I can't always do that. I do try, but I can't always do that. All right, with that said, please just let me know if you like the video and what your thoughts are. Thank you.